Yo. The algorithm. This is probably the sci-fiest thing you're going to have to deal with all day. You probably heard of this. YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, every social media platform, everything that delivers you content, they all face this interesting problem where, take YouTube for example, there is uploaded every single day an entire human lifetime worth of video content. All right, no one person could ever even hope to understand that much information. But Google, YouTube, wants to connect their users with the videos that they want to see. So how do they do that? They designed an algorithm. An algorithm's job, you can think of it in one way, is, well, they want you to see videos that you want to see. And that's why you get to watch your TED Talks. Well, I like my TED Talks. You get to watch your, strange child videos. I watched the most viewed video on YouTube recently. It's these really uncomfortable kid videos, but I don't understand children in the first place. That's not the point whatsoever. The problem is the algorithm isn't just about getting you to see things that you want to see, because it's designed with the ultimate ulterior motive of any large business, which is YouTube wants to make money. They're a corporation. They've got mouths to feed. They've got plenty of people that they want money in the pockets of. And the people who give them money are the advertisers, specifically the people who are trying to sell products on their platform. So the algorithm isn't optimized to show you the things that you want to see. The algorithm is optimized to keep your eyes on the platform for as long as possible, to feed you more and more content just as an excuse to put more and more ads in front of your face to increase the odds that you're going to click on one and buy something from the people who are paying YouTube money. See, you can think of the algorithm as in a couple of ways. One of them is like a learning machine, right? Just a collection of code that, it picks up on some data and it figures out how to match a video with a couple key data points about a user's profile. That's one way to think about it. And it's an honest and true way to think about it, but I don't think it's the right way. I think the algorithm is so much larger and more complex than any one person can even fathom. I mean, even the creators have no idea what's really going on under the hood. That's the nature of these machine learning algorithms. That's the nature of these large neural networks. It's like you can build something and you set it free in the wild and you watch it work as though it was an animal living its own life. It's got its own path and you have no idea what's going on inside of its head, so to speak. I think the right way to think about the algorithm is almost like this living, breathing, thinking machine. Except it doesn't think much. It's only got one drive, and that is increase watch time at all costs. And that's what it does. So the algorithm is a powerful force. I visualize it like this. Imagine like a billion tentacled octopus, like a billionopus, right? And I say billion very specifically because there's 1.3 billion YouTube accounts. It's more than an eighth of the world population. I'm not about to do math. Like more than a fifth. It's amazing. It's an incredible amount of people. And the algorithm has its tendrils spread across the globe, touching the screens of every single person who owns an account. What's the problem then? The problem is you're being manipulated. I am. We all are. Why? Well, first, if you don't believe me right off the bat, because manipulation is a strong, scary word, think if you were being manipulated, truly manipulated, would you ever fully recognize it? Is it manipulation if you're aware of it? I don't think it is. That's why I use that word specifically. Manipulation because you're being shown content whose purpose is to influence your behavior without your awareness, under the surface of your awareness. And this isn't, I know I just said the purpose of the algorithm is to increase watch time, but truly, this point was made fantastically by Jaron Lanier in The Social Dilemma. It's a Netflix original about this exact same topic. Truly, the only thing Google or any platform could ever profit off of is a change in your behavior. There's no value in your attention. There's no in your attention alone, right? There's no value in increased watch time alone. The value is in the actions that you begin to take because of what you've seen. If you see an advertisement of a new toothpaste, the only real value that you can provide is by going out and purchasing that new toothpaste. And it's not just about the advertisements. Here's the big scary bit to me. There's this brilliant line in The Truman Show I think about all the time, even before I saw it being referenced in The Social Dilemma. It's that we accept the reality with which we're presented. And these social media platforms, Google, Facebook, Twitter, their job, well, that's a poor way to phrase it, their content is oftentimes reality. You don't even have to consider it like news. It's not even like large news networks, CNN, NBC, Fox News, or anything like that. But the people, the human beings who are sharing ideas, sharing news articles, sharing content, are painting your world for you. Anytime you look out and you see something about the world, whether it's online or in reality, that information is processed in your head in a way that kind of sets, it's almost like it sets the boundaries. Anything that's outside of your present experience, in my case, outside of these four walls, I am clueless about. I have no idea what's going on out there. The only idea I have are the ones that have been given to me by the outside world. And it poses this interesting problem where, an age-old problem, well, how do you know what information to trust? Or whoever has control of the information has control over the people. And paint is the best way I can think of it, because it happens one stroke at a time. One brush stroke at a time, one video, one text post, one piece of content, over and over and over again for years at a time. Let me give you an example of how deep this compounding effect can go from my own personal life. I've been on YouTube for as long as I can remember, as long as I've known that it was a platform. Let's call it 10 years. I think it's been longer than that. And if I were to ballpark it, I spend maybe between 8 and 16 hours a week on YouTube. It's a serious amount, something to the tune of like an hour a day or more. And that's certainly, varied wildly in the past. But let's call it 8. Let's be a little bit conservative, right? It's 8 hours a week for 50 weeks a year for 10 years. That's 4,000 hours of my life I've spent consuming what other people have painted for me. And another way to look at it is working a full-time job for 2 straight years, 40 hours a week, and that job is just to consume content. That's how much information I've absorbed from YouTube. And I don't say this to paint it as this ultimate evil. It's not the point. There's plenty of deep personal value I've gotten off of YouTube. All right, I love seeing new ideas. I love seeing the surface of the world that I was lucky enough to grow up in. These amazing artists and talented speakers and incredible people that I admire. I never would have found most of these people without this video sharing platform. It's truly a masterpiece. It's monumental how much information it's able to disseminate to the environment. But what I do want is to paint how dangerous it can be when it's left unchecked. And unchecked is a weak phrase. How dangerous it can be when you're not paying attention to it. So, what does this manipulation look like? It looks like a tiny little poke. A video here, a video there. The Social Dilemma, absolutely watch it if you've got a Netflix account, made a great example of somebody being driven down this extreme center political movement, being shown like video after video of don't vote, resist the vote, like both candidates are awful, like this, that, and the other thing. And you could see there's the degradation, over time as he kind of lost himself in this idea. And it spoke to me because I've seen it in myself. There's times when I'll look back on something that I'd use the word passionate about. And I had to question, honestly and recently, is that really my idea? Did that come out of my head, or is that given to me? Am I acting on my own beliefs, or am I acting on somebody else's? And it's a scary thing for me because, well, I'm young, as far as I can tell, it's my purpose in the world to be lost and confused, and I'm grasping at straws for anything that makes me feel important. And when it's given to me, by an algorithm, I take it and I run with it. Like Tarzan, swinging from the ropes, just one after another. I'm just trying to find something to hold on to. And YouTube and the internet and all these algorithms, they give me and people like me exactly that. When you want it, if that's something that it detects will attract you. That's the bait that reels you in. is purpose. Then they'll show you things make you feel purpose, ultimately just to show you advertisements between the videos. It's really something. It's really something else. You know, I don't know the extent to which I've personally been manipulated, but I know that, well, here's the thought experiment, right? It's like any human relationship is a fair degree of, well, let's relax the term manipulation. It's a give and take, you know, like I'm doing something. Even this cat, you can't see my cat in frame, but he's here and he's keeping me company. I feed him, his name's Sam, he's the best. I feed him, all right, and he comes to me for attention. He manipulates me in a way that I'm okay with, that I consent to, because I want to give him attention, because I love him, and he's furry, and he's great, and he's cute, and I just want to help him live a nice, happy life. You know, this is fine. This is a relationship. It's like mutually agreed upon manipulation. That's one way to think about it. But YouTube, these algorithms, is not just YouTube, isn't just mutually agreed upon. It's seldom agreed upon. Oftentimes you don't even know what you're being shown. It's just really the way it works, and like the crux of how it has control over anything at all are these recommendations. You see them in the sidebar. You see it when you click on the YouTube bookmark. I have a YouTube bookmark. When you click on the YouTube bookmark, it pulls up your recommendation feed, and it gives you like 20 videos, 10 that you get to pick and choose from. And the idea, the algorithm's job is to make each and every one of them as entertaining and attractive as an option as possible, to show you that, hey, you know, so long as you're still here, man, we got something for you. Just crank that slot machine lever and come on in. You know, it's crazy. I'm gonna get back to that recommendation feed in a moment. I think I lost my place for a second. Talking about manipulation. That's right. In the word manipulation, I was back on the extent to which people are being manipulated. To the extent to which you are being manipulated. It's hard to say. You know, on the one hand, I'm being shown ideas. I mean, I take this upon myself to say, I believe part of me was raised on the internet in a way that I am forever grateful for. I mean, like my first friends, you know, I learned how to speak with friends on RuneScape, for example. Like that's where my life has been. So the internet and videos, and recently I've been in like TED Talks, so I get to see, you know, real people, good people. It's not like YouTube's making this content. I mean, it's human beings making these content, living their lives and creating and putting things on display for you to see. And I get to benefit from that because I get to absorb these ideas. I get to collect this information, and it's brilliant. But when you're being shown, I mean, imagine this, right? Let's bring it political for a second, because it's the easiest way in my head right now to demonstrate like polarly opposing views. All right, let's just call it left and right for now. So let's say, you know, sure, you can be shown videos that you want to see. All right, but let's say the first video that you figure out you want to see is somebody on the left. All right, and you watch the video and you like it. They make some good points. Now, in an alternate world, the first video that you wanted to see was somebody on the right. And you like that video and you like what they said, and they made some good points too. All right, so pick one of those paths. Let's go with the left. And you say, all right, well, now the algorithm knows, well, left videos are likely to pique your interest at least a little bit. So let's show you another one. And then you click on this new left video, and it agrees with some of the information that, you know, is in your head. You don't really think that, you realize it was from a video you saw a week ago, but it's there, it's in your head, and it agrees with you, and it makes you feel comfortable. And you say, hey, I like what this person is saying. And you do that 10, 20, 30 times over the course of 3, 4, 5 months. And suddenly, you know, you've got an entire political doctrine in your mind that you didn't really put there in the first place. And then you look at that person who went down the right path, right? Right politically, and you say like, yo, where is your head at? I don't understand what you're thinking. Why do you believe what you believe? This is ridiculous. And the only reason you say that is because you didn't see the information that was given to them. They just picked a different path, but they had the exact same experience that you did. They found a video. They liked it. It was nice. It had good points. It was sensible. So they watched another one that had good points. So it was sensible. And then another one. And then another one. And suddenly two people diverge in their ideologies, and they point fists at each other. And they say, you know, I don't like you anymore. Usually, I don't know, seems like in this world more violently than that. But we'll get into that in a moment. So that's the point. You are being manipulated slowly and steadily over weeks, months, years, tiny pushes, tiny 1% changes that compound over years and years and years. But the bigger point, well, bigger in scope, is that everyone's being manipulated. 1.3 billion people are on this platform. YouTube specifically, that's not including Facebook or Twitter, which have a huge amount of overlap with YouTube for sure, but total ranges above 1 billion people. It's just an insane number just to think about. And each and every one of them goes through the same process where they'll find their own content niches, just the thing that attracts them, and they spiral down the rabbit hole at the behest of whatever the algorithm wants to feed them. And the outcome, as far as I can tell, well, it's not so good. It's millions of people. We call this for a very good reason. And I hear this phrase tossed around maybe by the videos that the algorithm has fed me. We call this the most divisive time in human history. That we've never had as much derision. It's like, even despite all the progress we've made, and I can talk about the progress in another video because I love talking about our progress. Even after all the incredible progress we've made as the human species, our technology that can feed more people than ever before, even in terms of like racial crimes, like incident by number count has gone down like progressively over the years. It is just constantly getting better. But now we look at one another and like we're in this time of like heightened like racial tension, and it's like it's because we see these things, they're being like thrown at us so loudly, they're being just shoved down our face, like that people are being hurt. Now, I don't say this to discredit the pain that is going on inside of people's lives and families and communities, not at all, just to say that they're being amplified so much louder than we have ever seen in history, ever. And this is the result. Protests and riots in every city across the nation. Now, the solution to this problem is being posed oftentimes by the tech companies themselves. Let's call it, Facebook. I've seen Zuckerberg was, attesting before Congress about creating new algorithms that better feed the well-being of people, their mental health and things along those lines. And, there's a lot of contention about that. On the one hand, it's a technological problem, seemingly, so maybe it deserves a technological solution. On the other hand, you're entrusting the solution to these problems on the same people who profit from the problem being there in the first place. Maybe you can make it so that these videos don't send people down, like neo-Nazi movement spirals, or send people into enormous, like, mental health pits or anything like that. While still increasing their watch time as much as possible to continue feeding the advertisers money. But regardless of whether or not those solutions can take action or not, we live now. We live in this present moment. Can't really wait so much on somebody else solving this problem for us. This algorithm, you can call it manipulative, but the truth is, its job is to learn about you. Like, this algorithm is nothing without the people who watch these videos. It's nothing without the people who make these videos. It's nothing without learning who you are and what you want and trying its best to give you what you want. That's its into your life, is to give you what you think you want. As far as I can tell, the best course of action you can take as a person that might alleviate the strain across it sounds insane, but millions of people, is to learn what it is that you want, so that when you get on these platforms, you can find the things you're looking for specifically. The algorithm can be tuned to feed you what you know is truly beneficial to whatever it is you want to explore, whatever you want to be educated or entertained about today. The algorithm doesn't have to be a parasite. It is if you allow it to be. It is if you let it go unchecked and you simply, check out a life and feed all of your attention like a husk. You just give it all away into your phone screens or computer screens. But it doesn't have to be that way if you make the conscious decision to sit down and learn and ask yourself what it is that you want, and learn as you go, and allow the algorithm to feed you what it is that's truly benefiting you. Now, the problem is, My problem is I'm addicted. I smack that bookmark button. I find myself on YouTube. I look at the first 10 options and I go, yo, these look nice. And I find myself watching 45 minutes of Casually Explained because I enjoy it, even though it's not actually improving my life. I love you, Casually Explained. Keep it up. Appreciate what you do. My solution to this problem is to break the habit cycle. It's the favorite thing that I've done this week. I found I'll link it in the description. I found a blocker that blocks YouTube recommendations. Oh, it's the best. You click that bookmark button and there's nothing there but the search bar and all that information on the side. You can still find your subscriptions and everything like that. When you click on a video, they're recommended the next up, the suggested videos, they're all gone. It's just you, the video, in the comment section. It's the best thing I've ever done. I've tried blocking YouTube specifically, like a full-on ban for a moment on my web browser. But every time it's like, well, people will send me videos and I do want to watch those. So it pulls it up and I got to remove the blocker. And then suddenly, well, the blocker's not on there the next time around. And I just go and feed an hour, 2 hours of my life into the algorithm again. But this breaks the habit cycle. And suddenly you can click on that and all you've got is your own curiosities. You have to decide what you watch. So, in closing, you're being manipulated if you're not paying attention. And like you, so are millions and millions and millions of people. This algorithm throws energy into the system and it creates these complex and loud and overly amplified. You can call them echo chambers. You can call them reinforcing ideas and opposing groups. It's turning people into these molecules that when you mix them up, they have this violent chemical reaction. And we've seen people get hurt because of the ideas that they learn online or elsewhere. And if you want to do something about it, start with you. Figure out what you want and don't allow the algorithm to distract you from what it is you are looking for. That's all I've got for you today. I'm going to try and throw some information down in this description. Appreciate it for watching. Thanks so much. I'll catch you on the flip side.